Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Blevin Robinson with West Coast Cajun Cuisine, and today's video, Cajun mac and cheese. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're interested in learning how to cook authentic Cajun cuisine, comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you've come to the right place. Click the subscription button and that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now today's video is Cajun mac and cheese. You talk about the ultimate comfort food. Who doesn't like mac and cheese? Who didn't grow up on mac and cheese when they were a kid, right? Well, we're going to take this up to the next level. We're going to add some andouille sausage. We're going to add the holy trinity of Cajun cooking, a little bit of onion and bell pepper and celery, and incorporate that into our cheese sauce, and then put that in with some spiraled pasta. And then we're going to bake it for a little while with a little breadcrumb topping. Finish it off with some green onion. Man, talk about good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking because I know you guys are getting hungry just listening to me describe this stuff. So let's go ahead and get to the kitchen and I'll show you how to make it. Alright, so here's the recipe. Now you can go ahead and take a screenshot here, or you can look down in the description box below. I will have it there as well. That way you can copy and paste, print it however you need to do it. I will also eventually have this updated on the westcoastcajun.com website. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is heat up our skillet, and I want to start melting our butter. Now I have a cast iron skillet here, and if you don't have a cast iron skillet, that is perfectly fine. Use something that is oven safe because we will finish this off in the oven. Now what I did was I added just a little bit of grapeseed oil here because it's going to help our butter from burning. So now we just want to go ahead and get this melted down, and what we're going to do is we're going to start making a roux. Alright. Now while this is melting, go ahead and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. We will finish this off in the oven. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and find something that is oven safe, because we are going to put a nice little crispy crust on the top of this mac and cheese. Alright, so that butter is starting to melt nicely here. Now what I want to do is add my flour. Now if you've been here before, you've seen me make a roux quite a few times, and this is no different. We are going to stir consistently, non-stop, until we get our desired color. Now for this situation, I'm going to turn this up just a hair. For this situation, I want a blonde roux. I don't want it too dark because we are going to make a cheese sauce with this. And if you make it too dark, it's going to look like brown cheese. I don't want a brown cheese sauce. Not from our roux anyway, right? Maybe once we start seasoning everything up, but not right now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stir this for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. We just want this to start to turn color, and once that happens, we're going to throw our vegetables in here. Alright, so it's been about 3 minutes, and as you can see, this roux is just starting to turn brown a little bit. Now, I got my heat a little high. I've cooked a roux hundreds of times. I like to do my roux kind of fast. If you're not used to making a roux, make sure your heat is on low. Just take your time with it, okay? Patience is a virtue when it comes to roux. If you burn this roux, it's going to ruin the whole dish. You're going to have to start all over again. Alright? So now that I got my roux starting to turn here, what I want to do is add my vegetables. We just cooked this long enough to kind of get that raw taste out of it, right? So this is about where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and add my onions and bell pepper and celery. And I want to soften these up a bit here. So we're going to go ahead and cook this down until our onions start to turn translucent. And then what we'll do is we'll add the garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and let this saute for a few minutes, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we'll come back. All right, so this has been cooking for about 5 minutes. And I can tell that the onions are starting to just clear up a little bit. They're starting to get a little translucent. They're softening up. So what I want to do now is add my garlic. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this garlic press here. Press this garlic in here like that. And once we get the garlic in, we'll give it a nice mix. Grab this over here. Give us a good mix around here real quick. Let this cook down for probably about 2 minutes. Not very long. We just want to go ahead and let this garlic release its flavors a little bit. And then we're going to set this to the side. So what I'm going to do, as a matter of fact, since I went ahead and put my garlic in, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the power here to the heat, because we're going to set this to the side and then cook our bacon and sausage. All right, here we go. I got a frying pan set up here. I'm going to put a little bit of grapeseed oil in here. And what we're going to do is heat up our bacon and sausage. And I like to do it this way because I can control how much oil and stuff are going to be inside of the mac and cheese. And I'm not really worried about trying to deglaze the bottom of the pan and stuff when I do the mac and cheese. So I'm doing my sausage and bacon in a separate frying pan. So once this heats up, I'm going to throw the bacon in there, get it crisp, and we'll be back. All right, here we go. I think this oil's heated up enough. I'm going to go ahead and put my bacon in there now. Now we're just going to crisp this bacon up. I want to go ahead and get it nice and dark here and crispy. That's how I like my bacon. Because we're going to add this to the mac and cheese at the end, right before we throw it in the oven. So I don't want it to get too soft, you know, while it's browning in the oven. So we want to make sure it's nice and crispy before we take it off this heat. All right, as you can see, our bacon is nice and crispy. What we're going to do now is go ahead and remove this to a bowl and start browning our sausage. We're going to go ahead and add some oil to our pan here, just a little bit. And then drop our sausage in there. Same thing here, we just want to get it brown. Then we will move this to the side and continue with our cheese sauce. This is probably going to take 5 minutes or so. Everything's close to 5 minutes. But seriously, man, if you could smell this andouille sausage right now, whew, this is good stuff right here. Okay, so we browned our sausage, our bacon. We have that set to the side. We're going to go ahead and continue with this cheese sauce. I'm going to warm this back up here. What we're going to do now is we're going to start adding our cream and our milk. All right, we got everything heated back up. We're going to go ahead and start adding our cream to this and our milk, which I have all put together in this one container. All right, I'm going to start off by adding about a cup here. Let this warm up. Get this flour incorporated with this cream and milk, and it'll start to thicken up. So basically, what we want to do is just make sure we have a decent consistency here, because we're going to add the cheese as well, so the cheese is going to make it thick, right? And we want it a little bit loose because we are going to finish this off in the oven. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that this is all well incorporated. Looks like it's going to be a little thick, so I'll be adding probably the rest of that cream and milk. Let's go ahead and do that right now. And then we're just going to keep stirring until it all mixes well and makes one thick consistency. Then we'll start adding our cheese. And then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. So it's going to be a little clumpy at first, but as it heats up, it's all going to start to meld together here and into one cohesive sauce. Man, if you could smell this right now, this is ridiculous. All right. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my seasoning. Just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in there like that. Now see, the seasoning is going to give this sauce a little color. It's going to make it a little pinkish color here, but that's perfectly okay. Oh yeah, this is coming together nicely. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. Now once I get the cheese in here, I'll be able to see just how thick it is, and if I need to, I'll add some more milk to thin it out before we throw it in the oven. So I like to go ahead and just kind of get an idea of the thickness, and it looks like it's going to be pretty thick. So all right, so now what I want to do is start adding our cheese a little at a time. Just going to go ahead and melt it in here. To put about a quarter of the cheese in, stir it around, get it melted. Now I like using this pepper jack and mozzarella because it's so creamy when it melts. And I used cheddar before, which gave it a really good flavor, but the cheddar just doesn't melt right. And it almost leaves your cheese sauce kind of grainy. I didn't care for that too much. So I moved on to this pepper jack and mozzarella, and man, you talk about a nice creamy cheese sauce. Whew, and flavorful. Oh my Lord. Okay, just that little bit of cheese right there, as you can see, it thickened this up quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is add probably another cup of milk. Like I said, I want this to be a little loose because we are going to finish it off in the oven, and I don't want it to get too thick. So another cup of milk. So for those of you paying attention to the recipe, we're at 2 cups of milk and 1 cup of heavy cream right now. And it'll all be down in the description below, and I'll make sure to have the right measurements down there. So there we go. I'm just gonna let this milk get incorporated with the sauce, and also heat up a little bit to drop the temperature of our sauce. So I don't want to put any more cheese in here yet, because I want it to warm up so that I can melt that cheese. And with that cold milk in there, it's not going to work out right. All right. So now what I'm going to do is add some more cheese. And it says a cheese sauce, right? You know what? The way that melted, I'm just going to add the rest of it. Now we're just going to stir it around until the cheese melts and gets well incorporated here with this sauce. Then we're going to add everything else to it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add our sausage and our bacon back to this. Now I went ahead and strained all the oil. Just go ahead and pop that in there like that. That to the side. Make sure this is all mixed in there well. Now we'll go ahead and add the pasta in here. And I like using this rotini because it's kind of that spiral shape, and the sauce just kind of clings to it pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Make sure it's well coated. By the way, I got my heat on a medium low. Just enough to keep it warm and keep that cheese nice and soft. So now we just want to make sure everything gets nice and coated in that cheese sauce. Everything just kind of gets nice and mixed well. Now, you can go ahead and turn this off and eat it right now. You could serve this up if you wanted to. But we're just going to make it a little bit better. So this is what we're going to do. It'll final little touches here. I'm going to go ahead and take these breadcrumbs, sprinkle them over the top here like so. Get a nice little coating on the top. You may or may not use all of your breadcrumbs. That's up to you. And then what I have over here is some chopped green onion. I want to go ahead and sprinkle over the top. All right. Man, this looks incredible. And now what we're going to do is we're going to place this in our oven that we preheated to 425 degrees. And we're going to come back and check it in about 15 minutes. What I want to do is just get a nice browning on the top here. That's why we put the breadcrumbs in there. It's going to give it a nice little crust, little crunchy texture to it. It's going to add a little depth to this mac and cheese. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven, and I'll see you in about 15 minutes. All right, we're back. It actually took 20 minutes for that crust to kind of develop the way I wanted it to. The timer just went off, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of the oven and show you what we got. All right. Boom, there we go. That was a little warm. All right. So as you can see, we got a little bit of a crust on the top of it. It's going to give it a nice little crunchy texture. And you can see how the cheese sauce just started bubbling over the top there. So I went ahead and pulled it, and we're going to plate this up. This smells ridiculous. So let's get this plated up and try it out. All right, now the best part of the whole video is getting to try this out. This looks amazing. It smells amazing. Let's see what it tastes like. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's some grown folks mac and cheese. Let me tell you, this is crazy. This is good stuff right here. Boy, that sausage just gives it a nice little spice. It's nice and creamy, like I said, from that pepper jack and mozzarella. Little green onions, some fresh flat leaf Italian parsley we put on there at the very end. Yep. This is what I'm talking about. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off. I'll see you back in the studio. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Cajun mac and cheese. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate that. Now, next week's video, man, look. I'm going to show you a recipe. It's called Bacon Cheeseburger Soup. Man, this is so delicious. And I know it's the end of February, going into March. Probably March already by the time you guys are catching this video. But look, it's still cold for some of you guys. You're probably still dealing with a lot of snow. And who doesn't like to come home after a cold, hard day's work to a nice, hot bowl of soup? This soup is so freaking delicious. I gotta bring this to you guys, and I wanna do it before it gets too warm and nobody really gives a care about soup, right? You wanna be eating soup in the summer. So next week, make sure you're here to catch that cheeseburger soup. Look, if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscription button, that notification bell. And while you're here, check out one of the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you there.